All right. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday again. My name is Morgan Heitzma with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today's class is going to be about DocuSign. So for those of you who are wondering, how do I submit my documents to my clients to get signed, we have a digital version inside of our KW command that we can kind of explore. So without further ado, today's class is going to be recorded and can be found on our YouTube page. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in the chat box down below for you. And also, if you have any questions throughout today's training here today, please feel free to use this chat box. I'll do my best to answer these questions in real time for you. If by chance I miss any questions, just know that I'm going to stay for a few minutes at the end of class here today to help answer those. If by chance you need help troubleshooting your account, please feel free to reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'm going to throw that email in the chat box down below for you as well. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So what you're seeing right here is the KW Command login page. So if this is your first time signing into KW Command here, it's going to be agent.kw.com up at the very top right here. It does not have www in front of it. So if you are typing that in, you're getting an error. That could be why. And once you get greeted with this page right here, it'll take your KW username and password. You typically create this when you first sign up with your market center. If by chance you're having trouble signing in here, just know that you can always reach out to us and we can kind of help troubleshoot your account. All right, so for today's demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and sign in underneath Scott's account here. And once we sign in, we're greeted with our KW Command dashboard or our home page here. And within our home page, if we go ahead and look at the top left-hand corner, we should see a red square right here. If we were to click on this red square, it should open up our left-hand titles to our different navigational pages. Our DocuSign is primarily going to be used within our opportunities section right here. It's going to be smack dab in the center here. It's going to look like two people shaking hands. This is where your DocuSign is primarily going to live. However, before we actually jump in here, we want to make sure that we have our DocuSign connected to our KW command. And we can do so by clicking on our name on the top right-hand corner here. And once we give that a click, we should see a drop down, and we're going to choose settings here. It's going to be third from the bottom. Now, once inside of our settings section right here, you're going to see a number of third-party applications that we can go ahead and connect. For example, if we had Twitter, we can go ahead and connect that. Same with Instagram right here. There's going to be one connection that's going to be a little bit different than the rest of these, and that's going to be this DocuSign connection right here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this just so we can kind of see where it starts off. And you should be able to find it underneath your digital signature and transactions section right here. Now, if you've yet to connect your DocuSign, it should look something similar to this with the indication not connected and a connect account button right here. Once we go ahead and click on this, it should bring us up a pop-up here to enter in our first name, our last name, as well as our preferred email. Now, this portion is pretty important because if we have a personal email that we'd like to use that's already connected with a different DocuSign account, say that you used a couple years ago, unfortunately, that email address will already be tied to that outside DocuSign account, and it will be incompatible to be used to create our DocuSign, our KW DocuSign. Now, our KW branded DocuSign is a little bit different than the paid version of DocuSign or the free version of DocuSign, as it has an additional feature to create what we call DocuSign rooms, and we'll be able to jump into that here in a moment. But long story short, we cannot use a outside DocuSign account for this because those are two different kind of accounts. But what we see right here in the world of logins, we only have our first name, last name, and email. We're actually going to need to create a password and possibly a security question So this portion right here is, think of this as the first half of you setting up your KW branded DocuSign. Once we click send registration email right here, DocuSign will send an email to this account, and it'll ask you to authorize or confirm, verify, something along those lines. And it'll jump you into DocuSign where you can create that password and security question. So that will be that part 2. So part 1's filling this out here. Part 2 is going to come in the form of an email. And then once you create that password, we can just come back here to our KW command settings and then just make sure that there's no final authorize button here that we just kind of need to click on to connect full circle. Now, in this case right here, if you already created a KW DocuSign account and you needed to disconnect and reconnect it, or somehow it was disconnected and you just kind of got to get it reconnected again, you'll have this other section right here, right below the preferred email that says, do you have an account already? Log in here. And all we'll need to do is click on the login here button, and then we can type in that email address that we've already created. morganheidsma@kw.com, and then all we have to do is sign in. It should give us a pop-up here to fill in that password that we created. And once we sign in here, our DocuSign should give us an indication that it's connected and can be ready to be used now. So you also see that underneath digital signatures and transaction, it kind of disappeared here. If we scroll up a little bit more, you should see it within your connected apps now. So again, I already created a KW branded DocuSign account underneath my KW email address. And again, at this point, I can disconnect and reconnect it as many times as I'd like. All right, so again, as we get this connected right here, our second step would be to make sure that we have an opportunity that we've created. And in order to create an opportunity, we need to first have a contact to associate that opportunity with. So moving away from our settings here, we'll just go ahead and click on our contacts. And within our contacts, we have just a sample contact right here. If you don't have any contacts yet, you can always import or just add a manual contact directly. Again, we have a full database class as well. So what would lead, so again, a perfect question, what would lead one to disconnect and reconnect the DocuSign again? So a great example is, you know, you may possibly run into issues. It may not have been connected fully when you go to create an opportunity. And then again, just a simple disconnect and reconnect may solve that issue for you. Another thing that we've seen possibly is maybe you used to belong to a team and then you signed up for your KW branded DocuSign account underneath your team email, and if you possibly have left that team, you may need to disconnect and then reconnect it with a KW branded email for a brand new KW DocuSign account. So it's not necessarily something that you do disconnect and reconnect, but in case you run into some trouble, it may be an option there for you. Now, as we're taking a look at fake name here, again, just know that that we have a full in-depth database class here for you to create contacts, work on tags, be able to understand all the ins and outs of this section right here. But seeing as how we are in a DocuSign class right here, we'll go ahead and use this sample contact here. And we'll go ahead and take a look at fake name here. So taking a look at our contact, we can create an opportunity or a transaction for this contact at any point in time. We can do it straight from the contact's profile right here. Right next to timeline right here, we can simply click on opportunities and create an opportunity right here. You can also travel all the way over to our opportunities section itself. So the two people shaking hands, we can go ahead and give this a click here. And we can make our way to our opportunities. Now, again, full disclosure, full in-depth class on opportunities as well. What we're going to do here is we're just going to create a quick opportunity and then be able to kind of see where that connection in DocuSign is before we jump into the DocuSign platform. So right here inside of opportunities, we can create an opportunity. We can choose our market center if you belong to more than one market center. Our client's going to be that fake name here. There we go. And then again, as we scroll down right here, there's a couple other sections: commission rate, and then our phase and stage. Our cultivate watch within our listings is going to be a perfect opportunity for us to take a look at. So we just created an opportunity for a listing opportunity for fake name here. It's a blank opportunity. We don't have too much going on right here. But once we actually jump into our opportunities, you'll have our details, marketing, documents, offers and commissions, notes, and timeline. Now, marketing may only take place within your listings timeline because, again, you're marketing the listing. You don't quite market the buyer. So as we're taking a look right here, we'll just navigate over to our documents section. And this is going to be where we submit our documents to our market center to be approved. So it looks pretty bare right here. We're going to go ahead and pull in our checklist. Keep in mind that your checklists are made by your market center. So if mine looks a little bit different than yours, that's completely fine. That is to be expected. But how we pull in these checklist types is we'll go ahead and click on the left-hand side right here, pick checklist type. Again, you may not have as many as I have, but you should have at least a residential listing. We'll pull that in right here. And then once we actually clicked on that residential listing, you'll see that we have 3 sections right here on the left, and then we have this checklist right here on the right. This on the left-hand side are listed, under contract, and closed. These are to represent where we're at in the stages of closing. So listed right here, since this is a listing, these are all of the documents that are required to move forward in your transaction. Now we can pull all these in right here. We can drag and drop from our computer, but on the top right-hand corner here, you have this magical button that says Start a Transaction. Now, you may only see this button right here if we have successfully connected our DocuSign within our settings. If you don't see this at all, chances are we may need to come back here and reconnect our DocuSign. Now, this button will look one of 2 colors here. It will look dark gray like this, or it will look kind of white with blue text up top here. If it's dark gray, that means you do have a DocuSign successfully connected to your KW command. However, this opportunity does not have a DocuSign room yet. If we go ahead and click on this Start a Transaction, this should give us a pop-up here, a pop-up tab. And it will also change this color to this white text right here. It'll create a DocuSign room for us, and then it'll say Go to Transaction. This is your indication at any point in time, if you're in any opportunities and you go to Documents here, to note if there is a DocuSign room already connected to this opportunity or not. So we'll be able to see this in real time here. We'll go ahead and click on Start a Transaction. We'll choose our DocuSign. We'll wait for that pop-up here. There we go. Right now it's creating a DocuSign room for us. There we go. And then going back to our opportunities, you'll see it says Go to Transaction. So again, now we have a DocuSign room specifically for this listing right here. Now, I don't have any listing information. We're going to go ahead and fill that in here in a moment. But before we navigate away from the documents section, notice that now we have 2 other options. So before, we only had the option to drag and drop from our computer. Now we have the option to drag and drop or pull files from our DocuSign. So first and foremost, right next to attach files from DocuSign, you'll have something called a working folder. And if we take a look inside of here, again, you may not have files that populate. This will, again, depend on your market center. So I'll go ahead and delete this because chances are, let's see here, we'll try one more time. Chances are you may see just a blank section right here. There we go. So if you're seeing something similar to this, that may be the original way that you're seeing it. Again, your Market Center does have the ability to kind of pre-populate those there for you. But as we're taking a look right here, everyone starts off with a Room Docs folder. So you'll see that we have Room Docs right here. We don't have any documents yet, but on the top right-hand corner, you'll have a blue button. Whoops. You have a blue button called Actions. And if we give this a click right here, you'll see the ability to add another folder. I can go ahead and label this folder any name that I'd like. So maybe I'd like to separate my Room Docs and my signed documents. And now I have two different folders that I can go ahead and pull from. So I can kind of start to keep things organized based off of how I like to view my transactions and documents. So right here, I have a Room Docs and signed. If I go back over here to my opportunities and just give it a quick refresh, you should see that option. We'll give it a second. Option pull up within the working folders here. So now we have our Room Docs and our signed documents right here. So as we're taking a look right here, how we pull files into our DocuSign to be worked on and sent out for signatures. That's going to be this blue plus button called Add right here. If we give this a click, you'll have a number of different options that you can pull from into your DocuSign. Our biggest ones may be our DocuSign forms as well as our zip forms. I do know some locations still use zip forms here. So and how we connect these two are going to be outside of our actual DocuSign room right here. So taking a look right here, in order to pull in our Market Center forms as well as our board forms, we'll go ahead and click on our name on the top right-hand corner here inside of DocuSign. And we're going to navigate over to Preferences right here. Once inside of Preferences, on the left-hand side here, you'll have a number of different buttons you can click. We're going to click on Integrations. Perfect. Inside of our integrations right here, this is where you can go ahead and pull in or connect our Market Center and board forms. So if you're not seeing anything in this center section, chances are you may at least see an Add Provider option right here in blue. This is how we get started. When we click on Add Provider, you should see a couple of different boards here. And then at the very bottom, it's a little bit hard to tell, but this is actually a clickable text right here. Continue to company forms without validation. So if we give this a click, what will happen is this will pull in your Market Center forms right here. And then we can go ahead and click Add Provider one more time. And then again, depending on your association or your NAR association, you can go ahead and fill in that information, select your association. And once you validate, it should pull in your board forms. Now, for those of you who are using zip forms, right? So we have a dedicated section up top here that says Zip Forms Settings. Link your Zip Forms Plus account below. All we'll have to do is click on this blue arrow right here, and then enter in our Zip Forms username and password. And this should allow you to be able to pull from your transactions folders as well as your Zip Forms library. So if you already have documents that you're currently working on inside of Zip Forms, you should still be able to pull those into DocuSign here. And DocuSign allows you to be able to finish editing those forms before you send them out. All right, I don't quite have a board or a zip form account, so I'm just going to leave it with company forms right here. But as we move over here, now that we're outside of our DocuSign room, we can get back to our DocuSign room by clicking either our rooms right here and then finding the room that we just created. I may have a little bit more than you guys do, but it should be on the top left-hand corner is the very first one that we're working with. So giving this a click right here, it should jump us back into our, and then we'll go to documents right here. It should jump us back into our DocuSign room. Again, another easy way is just going back to our opportunity here and clicking on Go to Transaction. Once we give that a click, it should bring us back into our DocuSign room. So that's how we pull in our Market Center and our board forms. So now when we click on add right here and then click on DocuSign forms, this should pull in the forms that you're connected with. So again, I may have a little bit more, but again, that's just for demonstration here. But what you should see is your KW and then your Market Center. And then you should also see your board as well. And that's going to be down at the bottom here next to libraries. So you'll have your board library and your Market Center library. Up at the top here, we'll have something called packets. And packets allow your Market Center as well as you to be able to go through these lists right here, pull a specific form, create your own template off of that form, and put it into a packet here. So great example is maybe you want to create a buyer's packet. Maybe you want to create a listing packet, right? So here allows you to be able to pull these forms and create a packet out of it. And I'll show you how to do that here in a moment. One thing to keep in mind though, when you're creating packets and templates is you can only pull from your libraries here. You unfortunately are unable to pull from your computer into here, but you should still be able to create templates off of all these different forms. Here we go. Once you create a template off of a form, you'll have a drop down right here, and you should be able to use either the current template or the new version of the template that you've edited. So again, they'll only pop up under a template. Otherwise, you'll just get that complete checkbox right here. Once we find some documents that we want to pull into our Market Center, all we have to do is simply click on these checkboxes, and we can click Add Selected right here. So let me actually pull in two. Let's pull three in. I'm going to click Add Selected, and it's going to pull these forms into my DocuSign room. Now at this point, all we have to do is click on the square right here, the image, and it should bring us into the document for us to be able to fill out. So you see how it entered in fake name because we created fake name as the seller right here. So it automatically pulled that information in. We don't quite have a buyer just yet, but we'll be able to go ahead and enter that info in here shortly. But yeah, we can go ahead and type in any numbers that we want. We can hit save and close. And then when we're ready to send that out, it should still retain that information that we've entered in. All right, I'm going to refresh this. Typically, there's an image of the document right here, but since we just pulled those in, it may need a refresh. There we go. And now, we can kind of very, very briefly kind of see what that document is. Giving a click over here, so you have your details, documents, people, envelope, messages, and history. Documents are going to primarily be your home page of your DocuSign room, because every time we click on go to transaction here, it's going to bring you into your documents. So I kind of like to bring me always back to here just to kind of reorient myself. Right next to documents, you're going to have a section called details. And what's cool about these forms that we're pulling into our DocuSign room is as long as you're pulling in a DocuSign form, they should have let's see here. They should have a little icon that looks like this on the bottom right-hand corner that says a form in blue right here. This indicates that this form right here is a DocuSign Power Form. And DocuSign Power Forms have the ability to draw information from this details tab right here. So essentially, all we'll have to do is enter in this information once, and it'll apply that information wherever it needs to go on all these Power Forms. A great way to save time. You don't have to enter in your client's name over and over and over again. You'll just have to enter it in once into details here, and it should place it where it needs to go. Great example is that fake name that we just saw. Now, if I were to pull in a PDF, right, it's going to have a PDF image, something similar to this, right? Has the red with the PDF text right here. Unfortunately, those are not going to be able to be used within the Power Forms capabilities. So PDF is just going to be a PDF. It won't draw from the details information, but you should still also be able to pull this in if needed. Now, again, let's see how these power forms react in real time, because I think it's really cool, especially, again, to save time on filling out all these documents right here. So we have 3 documents. Our third one, we can see that fake name. I believe there's buyer information on this inventory addendum, and as well as a listing address. So if we go over to our details right here, you'll see that we have a little bit of information. We have the name of the client. We have the listing side, and then the market center. Again, all of these drew from this opportunity right here. Fake name. On the listing side, this is a listing opportunity, and then we selected that specific market center. On the right-hand side right here, we'll have buyer, seller, and agent information. So seller 1, here's that information pulled from the opportunity. Seller 2, we did not select a co-seller. Listing agent 1, since we're inside of Scott's account right now, this is going to be Scott as the listing agent. We don't have any listing agent 2. We don't have any buyers just yet. And as we scroll down a little bit more, we don't have any buyers agents. So no buyers agents, no buyer brokers, no listing broker, none of that just yet. And then on the left-hand side, this kind of center area right here, I believe this is going to be more about that listing or that property location. So, or listing details, right? So right here we have room information. We have that location required to close. So that listing address, listing details like expiration date, things like that, offer details. And then we have some other bits of information that again, you may or may not need. So we can edit this and update this in 2 different ways. The first way, probably the most efficient way to do this, would first be to start within your opportunity. So let's go back to the details section within our opportunity right here. Once we connect our DocuSign, you'll also have these new sections called synced right here. And then we will have a sync transaction button. This will allow you to edit and update information within your opportunity. And then we'll click on sync transaction, and then it'll push that information over to your DocuSign details here. So let's take a look at this. One of the coolest things about the listing timeline is they have an additional button that allows you to select from listings. So instead of entering this property information manually, I can actually just select from listings right here. I'm going to show all listings. I'm just going to type in 123 Main Street. So we have a 123 Main Street right here. Oh, let's go ahead and click on this one right here, 123 Main Street. And you see that updated all of this information right here on the right-hand side. If I click on refresh right here, it may no longer say that we're synced up with our DocuSign. So you may say edited right here. Again, just to pull that information over, all we need to do is sync that transaction. It says your room information has successfully been synced. We'll refresh this one more time here. Make sure that everything's back to normal. And when we go to our details section right here, so again, keep in mind we didn't have a location to begin with, but when I refresh this, now it should pull in all of that listing information that we've updated on our opportunity here. Click refresh here. And look at that. 123 Main Street, Vernon, Wisconsin, right? So it has all of this listing information. It also has some additional listing details down here as well. So as we're taking a look right here, there's some other information like seller 2 or our buyers, right? So I don't quite have a buyer just yet, but if I wanted to edit this information manually, I can simply click this edit button on the top right here. Let's edit our buyer to Sally Sue. Sally Sue doesn't quite have any information, maybe an email because we need to send her some documents. And then once we're done filling out this information, again, we'll just hit save right here. I always kind of like to refresh if I'm working on adding in any data or information. And then we're going to move back over to our document section here one more time. Now here's the cool part. So now once we actually jump into this CR inventory addendum, We give this a click again. This should pull in that buyer information as well as that listing information as well. Perfect. So as we see, property 123 Main Street right here, I pulled in all that information, even pulled in Sally Sue's information as well. So again, imagine how much of a time save this is going to be when you're pulling in all these documents. So I would strongly suggest, first and foremost, fill out all the information on your details tab on your opportunity. Second, go ahead and sync it. And then third, if you have any other additional information that's not on your opportunities, fill it in here. And then go ahead and pull your documents, because that should save you a bunch of time. Why can't you see listed properties on your end? Fantastic question. Whenever I jump in here and I take a look at our listings, let me go ahead and remove this. I always kind of have to select the show all listings instead of show only my listings. So again, it may or may not be an issue on your end as well. But I may suggest doing the all listings here and then typing in the listing address. That should help pull that in through for you. All right, perfect. So as we're taking a look here, let's go ahead and jump back over to our DocuSign. We have 3 documents here that we're filling out. You don't have to download the forms to put in the DocuSign. You can if you wanted to, but all we have to do is simply click on that add button right here, and then you'll have zip forms. If you connect it through your preferences here, you won't have to connect it every single time you create a room. You'll just be able to click on this, and it should pull up your forms for you. And then go ahead and match them up if you're currently working on transactions folders in your zip forms. Go ahead and just pull those into here, and then we'll just go ahead and click on them and then edit them out. So there's obviously some more information that I could add on this CAR inventory, but for the sake of time here, I'm just going to go ahead and put this into an envelope for us to send out. So how we do that here is, instead of clicking on the actual image, if we were to click on the checkbox on the top left-hand corner of the document, this should open up a new menu bar here for us underneath the history button. So if we give this a click, you'll see it right here. And this allows you to do a number of different things. So one, if we wanted to, we can go ahead and delete this document. Say we didn't need it, we can go ahead and delete it. Click on this checkbox again. You can also archive, which is that soft delete, right? You can also download this document. We can create an envelope, which is what we're going to do here in a moment. You can also print, email, move, or copy. All we really kind of want to focus on is this create envelope section. Again, you do have download, archive, and delete. But if we click on this pen right here in the center, this should move us into filling out that email to send out this document. What does email DocuSign use to send the emails? What email does DocuSign use to send the emails? That's a fantastic question. So I believe they will use the email address that you have created within that settings. Remember, we went over to create that DocuSign account in our settings here in command. Whatever email that you chose for that, it should send it over, or it should send from DocuSign. DocuSign will send a pretty little email with a click here to sign, and your clients will click on it and it'll take them through that process. So once you click on create envelope here, this is kind of a newer feature within the last year or so. They popped up a new option here for us that says your documents have this number of signers on it. Do you want to pull in your buyer 1, buyer 2, seller 1, or seller 2? In this case, if we wanted to pull in Sally Sue's information, we can go ahead and do so here. If we wanted to pull in a fake name, who's the seller, we can pull that in as well. For this case, if we didn't want to pull in any information and we wanted to start from scratch, we could just simply click continue here. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and select seller 1. I'm going to leave buyer 1 unchecked, and we'll go ahead and enter in buyer 1's information on the next page. All right, perfect. So after this loads up here, this is going to be how you kind of set up your email. After we set up our email, then we'll be able to drag and drop the signatures and initials and things like that. But first and foremost, this is the form that we pulled in here to send out for signatures. We can view it here in case we wanted to just double check. If by chance we need to upload more documents, say we forgot one, we can browse, we can use a template, or in this case right here, more often than not, we may just need to add a document that was still in our room. So let's go to room docs. Let's go ahead and add that second document here. So again, you can add these documents. You can go ahead and X them out to remove them from this email. And then again, you have this 3 dots right here that again, you can kind of rename the document, view the document, replace it, and so on. So right now we're adding in these documents. Down below right here is going to be add recipients. So again, we don't quite need all of these initials here, or sorry, all these signers. So let's go ahead and kind of remove some of these. There we go. So right here we have buyer 1 and seller 1 right here. So seller 1's information was automatically populated because of that pop-up, because I chose that pop-up here. I didn't choose buyer 1's information because again, we can always enter that in here if we need to. I can type in Sally Sue. If I have Sally Sue added to my my address book in DocuSign, she'll pop up automatically. Sally Sue right here. And then as we scroll down here, if we need to add any other recipients, we can do so here. So a great example, a question here in the chat, is there a way to forward incoming emails to my KW email? In terms of DocuSign right here, if you wanted to, you can add yourself as a recipient. So let me go ahead and add myself as a recipient right here. And then I may, instead of say needs to sign, I may just want to receive a copy. So this should allow you to again, once all of this has been signed, it'll send over a copy to you. Again, you'll have other options as well in case somebody needs to sign in person, somebody only needs to view, or if you want to allow somebody to edit the document as well. Say you're working with a transaction coordinator or something. In this case right here, we have Sally Sue, we have fake name, we have Morgan that needs a copy. One thing when we're dealing with technology is sometimes things don't quite work the way that we intend them to. And this is one of those sections right here. As you see, buyer 1 should be signer number 1, seller 1 should be signer number 2, and me should be just receiving a copy, should be last number 3 here. Once we go and kind of reorganize or rearrange this, sometimes we've found that set that signing order. You'll see how it says 1, 2, and 3 right here. So again, signer 1, when signer 1's done, signer 2 will sign it. When signer 2's done, signer 3 will receive a copy. If I say, oops, I actually need seller 1 to be the first signer in this, when I move this over, it not only did it snap back, but it also adjusted the signing order right here. And again, it's strongly encouraged to have this in a timeline sort of fashion instead of everybody signing at the same time. So we may need to just be cautious of this adjusting on the back end just accidentally. So right here, in this case, I'm just going to choose Sally Sue as signer number 2 right here. And what that should do is that should readjust it again. But again, if I try to bring Sally Sue back up, it'll bring both of them as signer number 1 right here. So again, we want to make 1, 2, and 3. We want to make it a smooth timeline of signers. All right, I'm going to get rid of me that needs to receive a copy. We have buyer 1, we have seller 1 right here. As we scroll down, you'll see add a message. Now, again, DocuSign is going to send this email, and they do a pretty good job of what it looks like. It just is a button, click here to sign, and it takes them through the process. However, if you need to change the subject line, please DocuSign by next Monday, or an urgent message, or something to help explain what this document is that they're signing. You can go ahead and enter that in as well. Keep in mind that you do have a 59 limit character for your subject line and about a 10,000 character for your text here. But for the most part, DocuSign does a good job of sending out that email that looks pretty nice. Now, at any point in time, if you're halfway working through this document right here, you can always click on these actions on the top right-hand corner. We can always save and close. And once we save and close, we'll wait for this to load up here. Once we save and close, bringing us back to the document section, you can always find your envelopes 2 over to the right. So again, here's that envelope that we're currently working on. And once we give it a click, it should jump us back into where we were. Once we're happy with the way that this looks, we can click next right here. And this is where we actually go to apply the signatures, the date stamps, the initials, things like that. So in this case right here, I like to say that the left-hand side, all of this right here, these are going to be your tools that you can apply to the document. Everything on the right-hand side is going to be it's going to be options for that specific tool. So right now I didn't select any tools, so it just kind of shows us the full document right here. But if I were to go ahead and click on signature on the left, watch what happens to the right here. So click on signature, I drag that over, it automatically changes to the signature options. Same with say date signed, I can drag this over. And you'll see that this adjusts as well. So right-hand side are the options, left-hand side are the tools here. So let's take a look at this this signature, this sign right here. So again, this is your very first time using DocuSign. We can indicate the signer based off of the color on the left-hand side. So typically signer number 1 is almost always that DocuSign orange yellow color. On the top left-hand corner, we can see that as well, that it's Sally Sue, who is that orangish yellow. Now, if we click on Sally Sue on this drop down right here, we also have the ability to toggle between the different signers. So fake name, for example, has their very own color in blue. So if I were to pull signature over, we'll be able to identify that fake name has the blue tools and Sally Sue has the yellow tools. So at any point in time, if I were to mix up these two right here, again, keep in mind on the right-hand side on the options, I can always toggle that over as well. So I can always adjust these on the right-hand side. Something else that's super important here is on the right-hand side, right below the recipient right here, you have required field. And this will indicate if a specific section is going to be required or optional for your signer. So right here, both of these signatures are going to be required in order for that signer to move forward. If I were to uncheck sign right here, you'll see that it kind of grays out, but it still has a colorful a border. Same thing with the blue right here, kind of grays out, but it has a colorful border. This, again, represents an optional signature or an optional section. Now, taking a look right here, one thing that I want to kind of showcase is we have our 2 optional signs right here. We also have these text bars within our document right here. Now, taking a look at these text bars, you notice how the border is grayed out. This is an indication that only you as the agent is going to be able to fill this out and have it be have there be content there. Once we send this out for signatures, your signers are not going to have these boxes. They're only going to have the text. So this is essentially a last call for you to fill out any portions of your document that you need to before you get it sent out. We can very easily identify this by clicking on preview on the top right hand corner, and you'll see that these this is going to be from the signer's point of view, that all those gray boxes kind of go away. You see how it just kind of turns into just kind of lines with that text that we've entered in. So again, light gray boxes only going to be for you to fill out, kind of a last call before sending out that that document. So if we need to check any check boxes, we can go ahead and do so here. Oh, there we go. May have to double click on the check boxes, but again, we can fill out any pieces of text right here if we need to before we send it off. Now, on the left-hand side right here, we have some really cool options as well. So our signature and our date sign was automatically pre-populated based off of that that seller right here. But again, if I wanted to add that buyer, we'll go ahead and add that signature section on the buyer, and then a date signed on the buyer side. We can always shrink this down as well. So if sometimes boxes may be a little too large, but there should be a dotted square on each corner, and we can kind of shrink that down so it looks just a little bit nicer. There we go. If you want everything to be in uniform, or if you have to copy multiple sections right here and say, this buyer square looks perfect, I want to copy this over here. I don't want there to be two different sizes of text right here. So what we can do is we can simply click on this. We can hit the backspace, get rid of it. We can right click on our small sign right here and copy. And you have two different forms of paste here. You can just paste directly, and it should just kind of off center that that original piece of content. Or you can right click and then you can paste to location. So again, this allows us to, again, keep that same size of that signature. And then again, I'll just move this back over to the blue. A few other things to kind of check out on the left-hand side, one of which is going to be our initial. Our initial is going to look pretty similar to our signature right here. We'll shrink this down. Our date signed, if we take a preview of our date signed right here, it kind of goes into a longer string. So again, kind of be mindful of how that may look in terms of your space on your document. So not only does it give it the date, but it also gives a time stamp of when that signer signed the document. So always kind of good to be mindful of that extra content right there. So check boxes, they're going to be the same, optional or required. This is probably going to be one of those things that you may want to indicate if they want to check it or not. Again, pretty self-explanatory if they want to check it or uncheck it. If it's something that you are setting up as something that that they just need to view, they can just kind of read only, and then so now they can just kind of see that it's checked. But yeah, so check boxes. And then our drop down right here. So this is another really cool piece of tool right here. If I move my drop down over, again, you have a number of different options on the right hand side. It may look a little overwhelming at the beginning here, but truthfully, it actually does a good job of opening you up into the section that you actually need right here within your options. So right now I don't have anything to select, but if I click on if I click on add option right here, I can add option number 1, I can add option number 2, or I can add option number 3 right here. And when I go to double click on this, I can kind of see in real time what that looks like. As well as if you want to set a default option, we can say that this is always going to start off as 1 when they take a look at it. So, again, so they'll always have that option, or they can select 2 or 3, so on and so forth. So there's a number of different drop downs and options here for you, but for the most part, a signature, initial, date signed, checkbox, drop down. You have other options too, but this should be a good majority of to help get you going. Again, play around with these buttons as well. There's also that radio button. So we can go ahead and do that as well. And then there may be plus buttons down below here for you to create copies if you are in a list format. All right. As we're ready to send this off to get signatures here, on the bottom left-hand corner, we have our send. We do also have that top right-hand corner if we want to preview it again or save and close to come back at a later date. In this case, I'll go ahead and hit send right here, and it's going to send out to get signatures. And once this is sent out, at any point in time, I can always come back to that envelope section. Again, it's 2 from that documents. And we can always check in and see where this is at in the process of being signed and who is still waiting for it to sign and so on. So right here, it says waiting for others. I can click on this. It'll open me up into some more details. We'll see that buyer 1, Sally Sue, is currently signing this, or we're currently waiting on Sally Sue to sign this. And then once Sally Sue signs this, then fake name is going to be able to sign this. So it'll give you a good indication on who we're still kind of waiting for. If by chance Sally Sue did not get this email, we can always click resend right here. We can always resend it out. And if by chance we made a mistake on a form or a document, we can always correct it right here. So we click on correct. And as we go through here, it goes through that process one more time with us to fill out that envelope. So do we make a mistake on the name, the email, on the message? Nope, all that was good. Well, did we make a mistake on the actual document to get signatures and sign? Maybe I needed to uncheck a couple of these options here, and then I can go ahead and click on correct right here and correct the document. So what it should do is it should send out to, should resend out to get signatures again. And then again, once this is completed, it should have a green message here that says completed, may have a green checkbox right here. And then all those signed documents that we sent out, all we'll have to do is come back and wait for our room docs right here. And they should start to populate with a green checkbox that says signed right here. Once they're signed, again, completely optional, but I may drag them up to the signed folder right here while I'm still working on the other documents. And then I can come back over here to my opportunity. Once those documents are signed, sealed, and delivered, I can go ahead and upload them to my Market Center. Now, I don't have any signed documents, so it doesn't show me any that are signed, so I can't pull any in. But you should start to see your signed documents right here to choose between. All right, we have about 4 minutes left, so let me jump in and kind of give a couple other tips here in terms of DocuSign right here. So first and foremost, up at the very top, right next to DocuSign Rooms, you have Dashboard, Rooms, Inbox, and My Documents. This is going outside of your DocuSign Rooms. So again, that 123 Main Street that we've been working on that whole time with this opportunity, once we go up top here, we jump out of that. So let's go ahead and jump back to our rooms here. We exit out of our room, and then we move over to documents right here. This is where we can go to create those packets or those templates. So first and foremost, down below shows you all those forms that you have access to create a template off of. And if we want to, we can go ahead and create that new template. So which form do we want to create a template off of? So maybe this form right here, we want to create a template. Now, once this template pulls up, maybe I wanted just a couple mandatory options always for this template right here. I can save and close. And then now I should have a template for this option right here. So if I wanted to create a packet saying I just want to create all of these buyers templates here, so when I'm ready for my buyer to go through the transaction process, I don't have to pick and choose and reorganize and re-edit any of these forms. So again, we'll just click on new packet here. The name of your new packet, basically numbers and letters are going to be the first on the top left hand corner here. So it's all organized based off of letters and then numbers here. So if I do *11, for example, it'll ask me to, again, select that library that I had. Let's see if I can find that right one. And then right here, I can start to take a look and see all of those forms that I had. And I'm not quite sure which form I edited here. Oh, we'll just go ahead and select all of these right here. And once we have that, it has successfully created a new packet here for us. So at any point in time, again, first would be creating those new templates based off of the forms that you have. And then second would be creating a packet based off of the templates you created. Now at any point in time, when we go back to our rooms and we go to our opportunity here, when we go to our DocuSign room here and click on documents, we can add that *11 that we just created here. So now at any point in time, I'm not sure if I pulled, there we go. Now we can pull in that new disclosure at any point in time here. Just add selected, and we can kind of pull it in. And I know I ran that pretty quick. I only had a few minutes left, but again, really cool to be able to create those templates. Should make it easier, especially with details pulling in that information for you. So it should technically be a one-stop shop where you pull your forms into this section right here. You work on them. You make sure they're all pretty ready to go. You send them off to get signatures. They sign them, they send them back here, and then you're ready to upload into your opportunities for your market center to approve. All right, that may be it for me today. Again, thank you guys so much for hanging in there. I know that was a lot of information, but again, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and a fantastic holiday season. If there's anything else we can do, please feel free to reach out and let us know. This will be recorded. Let me drop the YouTube link in the chat box down below for you. Also, if you guys have any questions regarding your KW account, or if you need any troubleshooting, please reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com. Oopsie. And again, thank you guys so much and have a fantastic rest of your week.